Hi there, it's Rachel Martin, and you're listening to Parenting Teens Podcasts. Hiya, welcome to Parenting Teen Podcasts again. Today we're here to explore the ins and outs of raising teenagers, as per usual. I'm Rachel Martin, as hopefully most of you will know, a teen therapist and qualified youth worker. Today I wanted to talk into a common concern that comes up that I see with parents of how to recognise if your teen is dealing with anxiety. Anxiety in teenagers can be challenging to spot. I mean, there's usual ups and downs of the teen years that we see. So today I wanted to get you through so that you don't have to feel the anxiety about identifying anxiety. See what I did there? And point out some tangible strategies to help you identify whether your teen is experiencing anxiety. So that's what I wanted to share today, and hopefully that's going to be useful. But before we get into this too deep, I feel it's important that I just want to share that anxiety is the word that we use to explain the emotion fear. When we feel fear, we behave in an anxious way. So when someone struggles with anxiety, it's because their nervous system is hyper-focused on avoiding the feeling of fear. It's not because they're oversensitive or a little bit of a worrier. It's because they don't like to feel fear, which isn't such a crazy concept when you think about it. I don't know about you, but I definitely don't like feeling fear. But as we all know, you can't go through life not having bad feelings. And learning how to manage these emotions, well, that's the key. So anyone who's listened before will know I love a good metaphor, and I think this one really works. So I want you to imagine anxiety as a storm brewing in your teenager's mind. Each thing that could bring fear to your teenager is another storm cloud. Sometimes the storm is just one cloud, and so it's just a bit of a gentle rain shower, and then the cloud just disperses. But other times, it's a raging thunderstorm, and that's just impossible to ignore. Now, you'll find that there's either lots of clouds creating a storm, or one big mama cloud that's dominating the sky. Sometimes it can also be that it's raining for so long that this is the normal feeling of life. And there's a belief that this is how it always is going to be. It's just always going to rain in this world. So then there becomes clouds for no reason at all, other than the expectation that it's going to rain all of my life. So this podcast is about how you can spot the signs and become a parent who can read the weather patterns of your teen. See what I did there? See, I thought it was really good. Anyway, one of the key indicators for you is obviously going to be changes in behaviour. I don't think this is going to be a surprise for any of you. Keeping an eye out for shifts like withdrawing from social activities or friends, not going to that after school club anymore, maybe not doing some of their hobbies that they used to, or maybe they're struggling at school despite the fact that you know that they're actually probably more capable than where they are at the moment. But these are some of the slightly more obvious changes that you can keep an eye out for. But there are also some little changes that can really indicate that anxiety is on the rise in your teen. Maybe it's one of the simple little things of they're changing what they want to eat. They used to cook a lot and now they're just grabbing whatever they can find, living off the back of a pot noodle or some toast. Maybe it's that their room used to be relatively clean. Now, that's in terms of teenagers, and you'll understand what a clean room for your teen is. For mine, it's not what I would call clean at all, but I know there's a regular state it stays at. And sometimes it can get worse. And noticing this can sometimes be a sign of anxiety. It just seems to get messier. Or maybe they're good at being organised and now they're just always in a flap and forgetting and missing things. What I mean here is usually there is subtle self-care things or trends in your teens that they normally do, things they enjoy that make them comfortable or connected. And these are generally the first things to drop to make room for anxiety. These could be an early red flag signal about underlying building anxiety in your teen. I guess you could call it like the start of the storm. Finding these, or even better, helping your team become aware of these, is an absolute gift in helping maintain control. And no surprise, it's easier to manage a smaller level of anxiety than something that's been building for weeks and weeks. Another analogy I like is to think of anxiety as a puzzle, and there's loads of different pieces to it, and today I'm hopefully giving you quite a few of these pieces. But one of the key pieces I think you need to be aware of is the physical symptoms anxiety carries. It has the potential to bring a lot of strong physical feelings, like headaches from the constant thinking and chewing over the worst fears inside their heads, or stomach aches. Anxiety is a feeling so similar to excitement that butterfly feeling you get that can be excitement. Well, there's also a very similar feeling for anxiety. And the problem is, without something exciting ahead of us, these flutterings can make you feel like you can hurl at any moment, or they can just be a constant pain in the pit of your stomach. And this is because of the adrenaline that your brain releases when you begin to overthink or you begin to feel fear. Another symptom I see a lot is difficulty sleeping. Now, this is not to be confused with a slight shift to nocturnal living, which can be very common in many teens. This is the inability to sleep because of the continuous stream of thoughts. Those thoughts inside of their head that just aren't stopping, and finding that it's even worse when they're laying in bed with no noises and no distractions. They just can't turn it off. These kind of things really shift their sleep patterns, and you may notice your teen becoming more irritable because of it. It could just be another sign. As well as all these, there's the addition of maybe being fidgety, and maybe feeling pins and needles can be anxiety. Feeling hot and sweaty at the height of fear may mean that actually you notice a bit of a new smell on your teen's clothes when you're washing them. These are all little clues. But when you piece them together like a jigsaw puzzle, then it can reveal a bigger picture of your teen's mental state. So the next step, if you think your teen is struggling with anxiety, is not to panic. Don't go into an anxious state yourself because your teen's anxious. And communication is going to be vital in navigating this journey with your teenager. Creating a safe space for them to open up, where they can feel comfortable in expressing their emotions, without fear of judgment. Now, I know that some teenagers aren't really into opening up and they don't really talk about their feelings. And if this is the case, the best you can do is let them know that you're there. There are other ways to help your teen, but making sure they're aware that there is a comfortable, free of judgment place where they can speak is a really good first step. Now, if you do get to speak with your teen, please remember listening is more important than talking. Listening to understand what is going on for them is exactly what you're trying to do, not listening to fix or give them more ideas. I'm just saying. So asking what your teen thinks about how they're feeling at the minute is always a good opener. If you can share what you've seen that makes you feel it could be anxiety, this will show them that you're not just pointing a finger, but you've considered this for them. And asking their thoughts, and if you can help, and what would work well to maybe help them feel a bit different. Then it's up to your teen to take the next step. You can't force anyone to do anything. So now you've shared your thoughts, you've shared why you feel this, and you've asked them their thoughts. What you've just done there is you've shown them that they are seen. You've shown them how to use facts to make decisions. And you finish by giving them control to the situation by asking them what they want you to do. This way of communicating with an eye on how it can be helpful for their anxiety will help to raise your teen's self-esteem. You're demonstrating how to cope with fear, and you're making sure that they know they're safe and always have someone who wants to help. So I've talked a bit about coping mechanisms, so I thought maybe I'll just touch on some ideas here briefly with you. Something that might help if you're looking at anxiety, or that can help your teens to understand their anxiety, is to imagine it as a tangled ball of wool, or a spaghetti bolognese, the noodle part. Because what you're going to be doing is encouraging your teen to unravel their thoughts, their noodles, their wool, by maybe journaling or speaking with somebody about them. Both these things can really help to get the thoughts out of your head. Maybe you might be able to help them to pick up those things that they've dropped, those hobbies or self-care things that were the first things to go when anxiety started. For some, this might be engaging in creative activities, a sport, exercise, or maybe music. And I've got to say, actually, when I say music, I'm a huge fan of music helping with teens. For some teens, this can be something that really makes a difference to them. The power of music on our emotions is huge. And I found loads of teens will use music to match their feelings. I'm feeling sad, so I'll listen to sad music. And this can be great to help you feel your feels and not hide it or bury it. But it can also keep them stuck in a loop. Music can be great to lift them out of anxiety, but they need to be proactive with it. Quite often, I might suggest to a teen to have a playlist to help. And I want to cry it out playlist. This will pick me back up playlist. This one's going to make me move type of thing. You get the idea. All of these outlets can help them untangle their emotions and gain clarity and self-understanding of how to help themselves. And you can help them to find these. Another useful strategy is around understanding thoughts. Anxiety starts with a fear, but it's fed and it grows with internal thoughts. So encouraging your teen to recognise and understand their thoughts, there are lots of ways this can help them. But to give you one idea, a pretty universal thing would be to help your teen to recognise the difference between a thought and a fact. Thoughts are not facts, and remembering this when you're in a predicting the future kind of thought place can be really helpful. So to wrap all of this up, my final tip to you is please trust your parental instincts. If something feels off, don't hesitate to seek professional help. A GP, a licensed therapist or counsellor can provide valuable support and guidance tailored to your teen's specific needs. So if in doubt, check it out. So by way of a recap, identifying anxiety in your teenager involves observing behavioural changes, recognising physical symptoms they might have, making sure they know that there's the opportunity for open communication, and listening if you get the chance, helping them to establish ways to cope with anxiety, and maybe seeking professional assistance if it's necessary. So that concludes today's episode around understanding if your teen is struggling with anxiety. So thank you for listening all the way to the end, and I hope it proves helpful. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much if you've listened this far. I really hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Don't forget to never miss another episode. Please click the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening on. As always, if you have any feedback or ideas, please do get in touch. I always love to hear from anyone who's been listening to these. You can find me at teentherapist.online.com for my website, or Facebook and Instagram. I'm Teen Therapist Rachel Martin. I will always reply, so please, if you have anything you want to let me know about or ask about, please do just get in touch. And if you're feeling really, really lovely and you're listening on Spotify, you could leave me a review, which would really mean the world to me. Once again, I'd just like to say thanks, and I hope you have a super lovely day.